Most people often wait for life to change before they allow themselves to feel different. They say, once this works out, I'll relax. Once I see proof, I'll believe. Once it shows up, I'll feel secure. But the teachings behind manifestation point to a reversal of that order. Reality does not change first. Your state changes first, then your reality follows. You must believe before you see proof. You must feel secure before it shows up for you. And the clearer you understand this, the less effort manifestation requires. This idea is central to the work of Neville Goddard. Neville taught that life is not responding to what you want, it's responding to who you're being. More specifically, it responds to the state you occupy internally, even when nothing appears to be happening on the outside. A state is not a mood. It is not an emotion. A state is a position of consciousness. It is what feels normal to you. For example, think about something you expect to work out in your life. You are not excited about it. You are not anxious about it. You are not trying to make it happen. You simply assume that it will. That assumption shapes how you think, act, and respond without effort. Neville described this as living from the end. But many beginners misunderstand that phrase. Living from the end does not mean pretending. It does not mean lying to yourself. It means internally accepting something as normal before it appears. Normal is the key word. When something feels normal, your nervous system is calm around it. And when your nervous system is calm, your behavior aligns naturally. This is where manifestation actually begins. The I am discourses approach this from a slightly different angle, but the principle is the same. In the I am discourses, the emphasis is on identity. Not identity as personality, but identity as being. When the teachings refer to I am, they are pointing to the inner position you are claiming as true. Whatever you attach to I am defines the state you are in. If someone quietly lives from I am behind, I am struggling, or I am trying, that becomes the lens through which life responds, not because of punishment, but because consciousness reflects coherence. Saint Germain's role in these teachings was to emphasize mastery over this inner position. Saint Germain did not teach manifestation as wishing. He taught it as alignment. You not command life. You align with the state, and life reorganizes around it. This is why beginners often feel relief when they realize manifestation is not about force. You do not have to overpower your mind. You do not have to dominate your thoughts. You simply need to become aware of the state you are already occupying. Wayne Dyer expressed this in more modern language. Wayne Dyer often said that you do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. What he meant was not personality. He meant internal orientation. If you orient yourself as someone who trusts life, life feels cooperative. If you orient yourself as someone who expects struggle, life feels resistant. Again, not because of belief, but because of expectation. So how do you enter a new state intentionally? The first step is not visualization, it is observation. You begin by noticing where you already feel settled. For example, notice areas of your life where you do not overthink. You do not rehearse outcomes. You do not monitor progress. You simply assume things will work out. That assumption is already a state you know how to occupy. Now contrast that with something you want to manifest. Notice the difference. There may be tension, urgency, a feeling of watching and waiting. That tension is not a problem, it is information. It tells you which state you are currently in. Neville taught that states change by familiarity, not force. You do not jump from lack to abundance. You move by allowing something to feel slightly more possible than before. This is why trying to convince yourself of extreme outcomes often backfires. Your system rejects what feels unnatural, but it accepts what feels reasonable. So instead of asking, how do I make this happen? You ask, What would it feel like if this were normal for me? Not exciting, normal. For example, instead of imagining a dramatic breakthrough, you imagine ease. Instead of imagining applause, you imagine stability. Instead of imagining perfection, you imagine calm. Calm is the doorway. The manifesting state is calm because it assumes access. This is also why the I am discourses emphasize stillness. Stillness is not inactivity, it is internal alignment. When you stop resisting your current state, it begins to shift. When you stop fighting your assumptions, they loosen. This is subtle work, quiet work, but it is powerful. Over time, your baseline changes. What once felt out of reach feels acceptable. What once felt foreign feels familiar. And when that happens, manifestation no longer feels like something you are doing. It feels like something unfolding. This is not about blind faith. It is about coherence between your inner position and your outer expectations. You do not need to adopt every teaching. You only need to notice one thing. What feels normal for me right now? This state that you are currently living from is creating your now reality. But have no fear. States are not permanent. They are positions. You can step into a new one gently, deliberately, and without force. That is how your reality begins to change. From within, not without. Subscribe and enter your manifesting state.